Hi, Eric from Arise. We now offer a hosted version of Phoenix to make it easier for developers to trace and evaluate their LLM applications without setting up infrastructure. Instead of deploying a Docker container, configuring ports, and maintaining your own environment, you can rely on Arise to set it up for you. Here's how you get started. Create an account with us using GitHub, Google, or email. And after sign up, we will create an instance of the latest version of Phoenix, gated behind API keys and your user authentication. So I'm going to sign up using my email here. And I'm going to create an account. After sign up, you will have your own Phoenix instance that you can send traces to and run evaluations and user experiments and datasets feature. So on the left-hand side here, you'll have your API keys. And there's 4 lines of code you need to change to use hosted Phoenix versus your own self-hosted version. So the first one is using your API key to set the environment variable for OTel exporter OTLP headers to start sending traces. You'll also need to use this API key for this environment variable, Phoenix client headers, to use a Python SDK. And then you'll need to set the URL to either llamatrace.com or app.phoenix.arise.com in the appropriate places, and then you're off to the races. So let's go to a notebook to walk you through an example. We have a couple of sections here. The first is setting up the API keys and environment. The second is to set up the tracer, run an OpenAI call, and send it to Phoenix. And the third is to use the Python SDK and all of our new features around datasets and experiments. So we'll run through this whole example to show you how to send traces and use the Python SDK with our new hosted Phoenix option. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the API key that I just copy pasted here. The second is I'm going to install all the relevant packages. Nice. And then once this is done, I'm going to set up my tracer. So the key line here, the first is this line, OTel exporter OTLP headers, where I've set it to the API key that I just copy pasted. The second is setting up the endpoint to be app.phoenix.arise.com/v1/traces. And then I've turned on my OpenAI instrumenter here. And now we're just going to run an OpenAI call to create this haiku. So let's go look at our Phoenix instance. And we have the trace uploaded into our Phoenix instance, which is awesome. So that's how you send traces to hosted Phoenix. Now we'll walk through an example of how to use the Python Phoenix SDK and set up the Phoenix client headers. So this is the key environment variable where we'll be setting API key equals the key that we set up above. And then we're going to set the Phoenix collector endpoint to be this URL. So we were able to successfully run this function, and we got the trace details printed from the data frame printing for the shadows dance at dusk, the attributes.lm output messages using GPT 3.5, which matches the output within Phoenix. We can also use our new features around datasets and experiments. So here's an example where I'm uploading a dataset around a Q&A, question answer chatbot around Paul Graham and Y Combinator. And now that dataset is available within my Phoenix instance. So hosted Phoenix is free for all developers. We have a 30-day data retention policy, and we're working on paid tiers to offer more data retention and more storage. So we hope this helps all AI developers get visibility into their applications, measure performance, and build AI apps that work with real-life use cases. Happy building!